Hi, and welcome to Talking Sports. We have another great guest today, and his name is Chuck Medora, and I think you're going to like this one, so please tune in. Chuck, it's an honor to have you here. So,
Thanks, Orm.
and I love your outfit, believe me. I'm a Cleveland Brown fan through and through, so we'll go down together.
You know, there are pockets of us.
Right.
I used to call on colleges, universities, and in the Rochester area, I was at Nazareth College one time,
Right.
talking to their athletic director, Mike Daly. And he told me about a bar that was there. I don't recall the name of it. But Mamma mia, you'd go there and holy.
Ice cream bar, you're saying.
Yeah, right. A nice cream bar and then some. But they have, pockets there, and in Niagara Falls, I went to Niagara University, so there's some diehards there in the Buffalo area, Syracuse, and then there are the Fedigans and LB DiLorenzo, me, and on and on. So,
That's great.
yeah, and my jersey, by the way, was given to me as a gift from a kid named Mike LaCastro Jr. Nickname is Cat.
Okay.
And he's just precious. He saw me taking so much aggravation at CC's Tavern when I'd go there and people would be talking about their teams, the New England Patriots and the Dallas Cowboys, and then I'd go in with my sweatshirt I had of the Cleveland Browns and just about get laughed out. So Cat saw me take this for 2 years, and God bless him, he ends up leaving this for me. I thought that was pretty special. The hat, this is a gift of LB's only for this show because LB DiLorenzo couldn't be here.
Well,
He too is a Browns fan.
when he's up to it, you bring him back, and we'll be glad to do it.
Oh,
So,
thank
yeah,
you. That said, I also want you to know I'm giving a pickleball today. So
You're
we
giving
play
up pickleball,
pickleball
or playing?
for today.
Oh, you're playing? Oh,
We play every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday
okay.
at the Y,
At the Y.
Auburn Y, and then.
Where's that located?
Well, this is a humorous show too. I
Right.
understand, but there are 3 courts set up, and I'm not going to explain pickleball. I always have to. So now, in my chatterbox, I always print show a photo of it and say something comical about the game. But I'm telling you, I mean, I've gone from as a ball player, Pony League here in Auburn, Little League, Babe Ruth League, Wilsey League, college baseball, state league, the baseball, the fast pitch baseball that we played at the Y field, tennis, taught to me by a girl, Jeannie Romig, and now it's pickleball. So, and I'm thankful as heck, dear Lord, for leaving me something.
That's great. That's great. We had a guest on last month, and boy, he thought a lot of you. He thought you were maybe one of the better athletes he ever was associated with.
Can't possibly think of who that could be.
Well, his name happened to be Tom Landry, but boy, he was high on you.
Yeah,
So.
that's because Tommy's high on everybody, and
Oh.
it was awfully nice of him, to say good things about me. But
Right.
he's undoubtedly the most popular kid in our class. He just, as I was saying as we walked in, he just doesn't think of anything bad.
Right.
Tommy sees everything through rose-colored glasses, and he gave credit to all of us. And pound for pound, he was the toughest guy to
Yeah.
bring down.
Yeah.
I mean, his nickname was Bull.
Right.
He ran like a bull. He tackled like a bull. You couldn't stop him. And he made me a better player because in drills, I'd either go against Tommy Landry, or I'd go against Dick Rushak. Or I'll tell you, either way, Rushak was the tall of it and tough, and Tommy was the short of it and tough. I mean, God bless him, just trying to bring him down in
Good
practice.
athletes.
And great athlete, and great in everything he did.
Yep. How about when you were born? Where were you born?
I have to think about that. Here in Auburn,
There in Auburn.
on,
Where's your mom and
S-
dad?
on Seymour Street,
Seymour Street.
between State and Cross Street. closer to Cross Street, about 4 houses from there. And good question, an interesting part of at least my life as an American Italian,
Right.
Italian heritage. There was the West End, and all of the great ones came out of the West End. Well, we were actually on the cusp of it.
Okay.
So my neighbors to the left of me were the Andraskos, and they were of Polish heritage, and the Kaufmans of German heritage, and then Ann was Ukrainian. And I emphasize that because, I mean, I've been blessed to have grown up in a melting pot.
Right.
And I truly mean it,
Yep.
a true melting pot. At holiday time, everyone's mom baked
Right.
and cooked. My mom would send me over to the Kaufman, say, Chucky boy, bring these to Anna, and then I go to Andrasko's, and Ann's got a babka for you, and didn't lock your doors. Everyone kept an eye on
True.
each other's neighborhood, their cars, you name it.
Yeah. Great neighborhood. I
yeah.
went down there and got my wife and married her. She lived on Pine Street. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She was Polish and Irish, so yeah, quite a combination.
You know,
She beats the hell out of me. I'm telling you.
aren't blends great? I mean,
Right.
of it being of Italian heritage, my parents met over here, married, argued all their lives, but loved each other like
Right.
you can't imagine. Well, then I saw the blends of nationalities, Irish and Italian, Ukrainian or Polish, Eastern European, and
Right.
Irish and Italian, you name it.
was
And,
there.
and today, the blends of colors, of races.
Right.
You get some beautiful, beautiful and precious offspring.
Right. Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
we're lucky.
Yep.
My parents came over here from Italy, worked all their lives, just to cover kind of that. They worked all their lives. We owned our own home, had our car. Everyone whom I knew up until maybe 7 years of age was so much older than me. Nobody was my age until until I saw this chubby kid riding his three-wheeler in the neighborhood, and I was watching him, and I was playing catch with my neighbor Bob Kaufman, God bless him, who taught me everything.
Is he still down there?
He's still down there.
God bless him.
Yes. These guys used to call me, my nickname would be Dag for Dago. And they got away with it, right? And they would wash my face in the snow, I'd be beaten up by older people, never punched, always gotten down and washed my face and made me give up. And I fought like crazy. And then, Army, just at a certain point, they just said, okay, at a certain point in age, I guess they just decided, yeah, all right, we've taught them. But they made me tough. They taught me how to play ball. My parents, while being very spiritual, didn't go to church, but they fostered my going to church.
Right.
And the Kaufmans went every Sunday.
Yeah.
Lou and Ann, Ag, and Bob, and Rita, who became a nun.
Right.
And I so envied that. So I'd walk to church, walk to Holy Family, stand in the back of the church, but boy, I went all the time. And when I had the chance to be an altar boy, I jumped at it.
Wow.
Oh, ever so thankful.
That's funny you mentioned Holy Family. I just got a call yesterday from Father Shaw, and he's doing pretty good for himself now. So
Where is he now?
he's still up in Rochester. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they gave him back his car so he can drive now. And he sounded really good. He's a terrific guy.
Oh,
But he gave me the best sermons of our life, for crying out loud. He really did, without a doubt. Not to put anybody else down, but he truly was a great sermon giver.
love him.
Yeah.
Love him. I also, because I have the time and just, I go to Mass pretty much daily. I miss once in a while.
Right.
But Dennis would be there at 12:15 Mass during the week, except for Thursdays. That's the day off of the
Right.
priest at Holy Family. he would always tell a joke.
Always.
That was, and he'd
Good
come.
one, too.
A good one too. Eventually, I used some of them in my chatterbox.
Right.
But he'd come down. Dennis would come down from the pulpit after delivering his homily, and he'd say, "Now, who do you want to pray for?" And I mean, we'd almost have as many people there as some churches had on a Sunday. This is during the week.
Yeah.
And people would raise their hand and say, "Father, I have a so-and-so who's sick or suffering from that." We'd say a prayer.
Yeah.
Who else? And he'd go around the room. He'd let you speak or ask questions.
Yeah.
I mean,
Quite a
I
guy.
could talk about Dennis forever, Father Dennis forever.
Quite a guy.
God bless him.
Let's see, where are we at? We're here. How about grade schools? Where'd you go to grade school? You were the valedictorian in the grade schools, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a valedictorian. I went to Holy Family.
Okay,
So actually, I'll jump back just for a moment. My parents sent me to Seymour Street School for kindergarten
right.
because Holy Family didn't have a kindergarten. The first day I went, there were kids peeing their pants. Now you got to figure out, I grew up everybody was older than
What
me.
does that mean? They pee in your pants?
They peed in their pants.
Oh, I thought they were peeing in your pants.
No, I didn't.
Okay, I just want to get that straight, because,
No, but I checked though.
Oh, okay.
I checked. I made sure I didn't wet my pants
right.
either. No, he's killing me. And they'd play in the sand, and you know, I'm
Right.
already learning how to play ball by my older neighbor. So
Right.
that wasn't. So I made a promise to my parents. That was my first offer, and I said, if you'd get me a TV, because we didn't have a television at the time,
Right.
I promise you I will stay home. I'll be good. I won't, leave the house nor go anywhere until you get home.
Excuse
They-
me, but does this mean you were bad at one point?
I'll get to the bad stuff.
Okay.
So that happened. Speaking of being bad, I don't know. Did you ever get spanked?
Oh, I was born to be spanked. They couldn't get me out of my mother's womb. I'm not kidding you. They had to take a pair of forceps. They tore my ear off.
Really?
My face, my whole thing was, my head was black and blue in stitches all the way around my ear. They had to sew it back on.
Really?
I weighed 10 pounds and 2 ounces. My mother weighed 92 pounds, and she was 42 years old, for Christ's sakes, when she found out she was pregnant for me.
God bless you.
So I'm glad to be here. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
know. I'm glad you're here now.
Yeah.
Now I don't feel bad. My mom was 42 also.
When she
Had
you?
me. Yeah, in Italian families they'd have a child for late in life, and that's how it worked
Okay.
out to take care of them.
Okay.
So anyway, I go to Holy Family, and I already knew how to read and write. Not tremendously, but my mother
Right.
spent a lot of time teaching me. She wanted to be proud of her son and all that stuff. But I couldn't believe that you got slapped all the time. Holy, Sister Teresina, she was our first grade teacher, and she was fun. But if you looked around or you dropped something, bam. Well, third grade, we had this teacher, Sister Alice, and she's just so cute and just adorable. She was adorable, and
That's a great word.
that's a great word. I use that sparingly, though. You have to earn that.
Dictionary, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, Medorable. Billy Walsh, you may have known his older brother Dave, who played for
Yep.
Holy Family, played
Yep.
football for Holy
Absolutely.
Family.
Yep.
Well, Bill had this, he was always a clown, too, even in high school. So he had the great idea, let's see who can get slapped first by Sister Alice. So we all started doing everything we could that wasn't too bad. She came around the room, all of a sudden she just said, okay, stop for a moment. And we did. She slapped each of us. And I mean, she had the quickest hands in the West. And we were just so proud of being slapped. But Walsh, he got it first, though. He deserved it. Then there was Sister Gerald,
Oh,
who was a heavy-set nun. And
forgive me for saying this. I got to interject this. Sister Gerald made my wife change her pants.
really,
Oh, she
wow,
wouldn't let her go to the bathroom, for Christ's sake.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she did some crazy.
She did the same thing to Fuzzy McGee. If you know how big Tom is, he had to do the same
Yeah.
thing. They both were down there, her on one side, him on the other, but they had to get new underwear for crying out loud. It was unbelievable.
I mean, they were crazy, and I still go to Catholic church, but wow.
Yeah.
She would have, Sister Gerald had all these plants in her room, these ferns and, what do you call it? Rubber trees and snake plants, I don't know. And if you remember Holy Family, if those windows were ever so tall, and you had to use one of these long posts with a clip on the end of it to open the windows.
Right.
We all dreaded having to open those windows because you could not avoid bumping into one of those plants. And then she'd call you over and she'd slap you. So
You can't win.
you couldn't win with her. No, but geez,
That's
it was fun. Grade school was so great. And then there was Sister Rosaria, who was the principal.
Right.
And she had an office adjacent to our 8th grade class. L.B. DiLorenzo just about lived in that office. He wasn't a student of sorts.
Hard to believe. I always thought he was valedictorian.
Well, you would think,
Yeah.
because he knows everything.
Yes.
Speaking of L.B., I mean, we've known each other since he was that little kid who fell in the bushes.
Right.
And I walked him around the neighborhood so he'd get home. And
How
But
long
he-
you been friends?
since I was 7, if not 8,
Wow.
and he was a
That's
couple
great.
of years younger.
That's great.
And I'll tell you, just when I brought him around, as he lived basically through our yard, I saw his mother was just this vision of loveliness. I mean,
Right.
she looked like an angel.
Right.
And she was in a 2-piece bathing suit, brown bathing suit. I'm just a little kid, but you can appreciate beauty no matter what, and kindness. And she was just so sweet. And she asked what happened, and then I told her, and she said, "Well, honey, thank you for bringing my Elby home." And we were friends ever since.
Did you ever
No.
have to bring Albie home again? I'm just
Talk
asking. I don't know.
about-
I don't know what made me ask it, but
Talk about bringing Elby home. When I leave here, I've got to take him to the doctors. Yeah, a lot of stories about Elby.
I feel sorry for him. He's had a tough run here, no question about it.
For those of you who are watching and know L.B. DiLorenzo, and everyone does, he just had a bilateral hip replacement. That means he had both done,
Right.
and done at the same time. And I called him on it for so long that I stopped, for a couple of years. He just wouldn't have anything done, and I wouldn't talk to him. I mean, I just stopped
Right.
talking to him, and eventually I found out that he was going to have it done, and he has, and so now it's a matter of him doing the
Right.
the rehab, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Maybe you can give him a call. Tell him what to do. You've had it done before.
I had 4 of them, and they wanted me to have 2 more done 3 years ago. The doctor said, I got to warn you about MRSA and blood clots. And he says, at your age, I don't think I think I was like 77, now I'm 80 now, but.
You're 80?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a story about
That's why
you.
when you walk by and say, come on, I want to play me in tennis, you want to beat my rear end off. I know that.
I remember playing, the first time I met you, we were at the Y field,
Right.
and we were playing basketball against, and here I'm a midget, right?
You
But
said
I was
that.
in-
I did not say
I
that.
know.
I did not say that.
But I was in great shape at the time, hard to believe.
Right.
And Chet Copes was one of my best friends, and
Great
Les
guy.
Robinson.
Another great.
So some of my friends were the best basketball players and all-around athletes.
Right.
So I got to play just because we were friends. So they'd say, all right, Chuck, you guard that guy over there. I said, that old guy? I didn't really say that word.
Who are you referring to?
But Steve.
He
Steve.
apologizes. He didn't mean to do that.
But no, so I went, and I loved stealing the ball from people.
Right.
I'm that short anyway, and
Sure.
I had quick hands. So I remember thinking I'm going to steal the ball from him. The first, and I went to slap the ball away, and you turned your butt right to me. I don't know how you did it, but you did that faster than I could get to the ball. And then I experienced the first time I got hooked, where you were dribbling the ball, and then you hooked right around me. And now I'm trying to figure out how the hell do I get to the ball. You just embarrassed me, and then you'd make passes, and
You don't understand. At the time, I was delirious because I thought I was going to poop my pants. I was trying to get out of there as quick as I could possibly do it.
well, you embarrassed me. My buddies, I used to always look for Chet's approval, and I'd see him smiling, or he'd shake his head, or he'd laugh, or he'd do this. He'd call me Charlie.
Charlie.
You know, he'd say, "You're doing good, Charlie."
God, I miss him. He's a good guy.
I miss him so much.
Absolutely.
God bless him. He, Alan McLeod, talk about legends.
Right.
Joanne Reddick and
Yeah.
Johnny Humphrey.
Oh, they're all great.
You know,
Yep.
I was
great.
blessed to be friends of them and to have been befriended
Oh,
by them.
absolutely.
In fact, I caught, we're all over the place in this, but
No, that's
talk,
right.
talk about A-League fast pitch.
Right.
Right, softball at the Y field. And Chet was just an all-around,
Good athlete.
good athlete,
Yeah.
a natural athlete. I was a pretty good ball player, not great,
No.
but
Don't worry, Dad.
but so I caught him, and when he was on, he had stuff. I mean, he could throw a riser and a drop and a curve, and he wasn't if he wasn't on, I was leaping this way and leaping that way, and but I remember one time I leaped this way, caught a ball, and threw a guy out at second base. That was my claim to fame,
Wow.
who was stealing. I know, and I still dream about that and think about it. And there was another time catching Steve Pelton, Big
yeah,
Daddy
yeah.
Pelton.
Yep.
Great, another great guy. Well, I got Les to catch this time, and I was playing second base. Now, I felt that I had a pretty good arm. Well, Les caught. Guy was stealing, so as a second baseman, I'm going down to second to receive the throw from Les. Les flicked that ball so quickly, he hit Steve, who was a monster.
Monster, yes it was, yeah.
Hit him right in the chest. And so I'm running, all of a sudden, where's the ball? I look, and there's Cy Major, who was playing third for us, went over to try to catch Steve Pelton before he fell. They both went over, Cy couldn't hold him. That was the throw of, I mean, I've never seen anyone throw anything that hard, that quickly, all wrist, God bless him.
You know what's sad about what you're saying? Back then, you were part of it, I was part of it, but we had 2,200 people in this community playing softball, for crying out loud.
Did we?
In all different kinds of leagues. And today, we don't have any guys that pitch softball anymore.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
I was thinking about that too when I was thinking about doing your show, and what to say about that. I mean, there are so many great things.
Right.
People who went before us or before me, the stories, the legends
Oh, yeah.
of Red Oliver
Oh,
and Dan Buscello, who hit balls, towering balls up to the and
Tennis
over,
court.
yeah, up to the tennis court.
Amazing. Everybody thinks we're lying when we say that, but it wasn't true.
It's true.
You could hit them up there,
And Cy Major,
Major.
who batted left-handed, who would put him up over the trees and hit the Gentle Course house, sometimes breaking windows
Oh, yeah.
across the street, across
Yeah.
Mary Street. Yeah, we were blessed. God, did we have fun.
I have 3 copies here of 3 different times where they had an all-star game playing against the Rochester team coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And they drew 5,000 people up there, all 3 occasions.
W.
Uh,
Herman might have been one of the
Everybody
pitchers.
says, well,
for
there's
the-
nothing to do in Auburn. Well, we had a lot to do back then, and everybody loved it. I mean, it was great. It was unbelievable.
You aren't kidding.
Yeah.
We grew up riding our bicycle, going to our local playground, whatever your playground
Right.
was,
Oh, yeah.
and they were all known for something. Like Zinke Ledouce was the man at
Y.
the Y field,
Right.
and great basketball player. A lot of the
Right.
guys who went to the Y field, learned how to play basketball, and they
No question
competed
about it.
feverishly.
Yeah,
Down on the Ave and Chapman Ave, go to Booker T, and those guys were great basketball players.
great
So I learned.
athletes, yeah.
And Lincoln Playground, my buddies from Holy Family played there. And guys like Elby and I went to Seymour Street, and there was no playground there, but we played football there. And we went to Casey Park and played baseball there.
That's great.
Yeah, we were lucky. And then we'd go inside the park, Falcon Park, before it was refurbished, fixed
Right.
up the first time, and we'd play home run derby in there. None of us
Right.
could hit the ball
Yeah.
as far as the fence was,
Yeah.
but yeah, we were blessed.
We also had 22 parks back then. Today we got 6. So
Really?
think about it. I mean, it scares me because everything is this now, you know? Everybody's playing with the toys, and it scares the hell out of me.
So let me ask you, do you think any of that could be brought back?
I don't know at
I
this
mean-
point. I really don't. I don't.
Is some of that because of funding?
Oh, no question about it. No question about it. Funding plays a huge role in that, so.
Lack of interest among the kids, too.
And lack of interest among the kids. You're
Mhm.
exactly right, yeah.
I don't know. I know that. Yeah, if only they could know what they were missing. If only they could appreciate the kids
Exactly.
who aren't doing that,
Yeah.
who aren't playing.
Yeah.
If they could appreciate what
Yep.
the simplicity of what we had.
Yeah.
It was all sports. It was all activity. I mean, but then there are the kids who do. They're the Timmy LaCastros, and I know he's the exception,
Right.
certainly, to get as far as he has.
Yep.
You know, God bless him for it, and a great kid too.
Yeah.
You know,
No question about it.
but he obviously learned it. Mike LaCastro, Junior, whom I told you, gave me this. I mean, how many how many kids do things like that?
Yeah,
You know,
not many, that's for sure. Yeah.
and his brother, Adam Hurd. I mean, these guys still play their softball, by the way.
Right,
I was taking some photos of them down at Casey Park.
right.
Thank God they clobbered the ball. I mean, man, can they hit the ball over the fence? Mamma mia! But it's slow pitch.
Right,
You know, it's not.
yeah.
There are different challenges to it. It was never anything that I appreciated.
Right.
But
My son Ormy, he just retired from the city. He's been with him for 37 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But he had to take care of Casey and all the surroundings. But he was saying that on a given night, if we had 6 to 8 people down there watching the ball games, and
Yeah, and
the
that's
interest
true.
just ain't there. Everything
Yeah.
is this now.
Yeah.
You growing up in Auburn, you've seen everything come and gone. And give me some of your opinions of the things in sports over the years.
Well, my buddy Elby and I were talking about this, and he said, well, make sure you mention what it was like when we were young and how it is now.
Right.
You know, and Steve was pointing out also, that we were creative when we were younger. We played wiffle ball in what was called in the yard of the day nursery, and if you hit a home run, it went into Mrs. Marvintano's garden. And boy, you had to get up there, and there was a barbed wire fence. And if you didn't get over that thing without cutting yourself, Mrs. Marvintano had your ball, and then she'd be calling
Mrs.
you all
Dad's
sorts
mother?
of. I don't think so,
No?
but she had to be related.
Okay.
Oh, she
Yeah.
was, she was brutal. And Elby and I always got stuck playing his older brother Dickie DiLorenzo and his cousin David Festa. You know, both terrific ball players, and
Right.
and we're younger and not as good,
Right.
so they'd beat us all the time. And then Elby, he had a mouth then as he has a mouth now, and so
Elby
he'd
has a
always.
mouth now?
Hard to believe. I mean, I have fights with him, not physical fights. But back in that time, he would say things to his brother like, "You're not any good, Dickie. David hit all the home runs," and his brother get furious with him, and he'd keep on him. And then all of a sudden, Dickie turn around, run after him, jump on his back, and start pounding on him. And then you'd hear Elby yelling, "Ma, Dickie's hitting me." and I'd have to pull Dickie off. Yeah.
Time out, I gotta share this with you about Harvey. I worked at the desk at the YMCA, okay, for a couple of years. And the girls would always come down to the desk and say, Warmy, you gotta get upstairs. She says, if you could hear the language that's coming off the courts up there, she says, it's unbelievable. And every time I go up and say, it was always Albee. It was not anybody other than Albee, but the air was blue.
He did the same thing at the Y field. He'd be the first one there for tennis now. And two of the elderly parents, Mr. Picelli, and he didn't like anybody swearing, but he let Elby swear. He'd get a kick out of Elby. And
and he lived right across from the Y field.
he lived across from, yes, from the Y field at the where the basketball courts are.
Right.
But he could hear Elby cursing from the tennis courts. And then there was Mr. Garino, God bless him. And he'd go out, and as soon as everybody would arrive, these guys would go out on their porches and watch and listen for the language, because Elby had this terrible temper. And if he missed, or if his partner missed, he'd start to unload. But he just, somehow he always got away with it.
Yeah, he
We
did.
always excused him.
He did. Something else. Oh, my God.
But when we were younger, we played, there was wiffle ball, we played football in the road, and actually, one of the most creative things we did when we were little, in Elby's house, upstairs, in the hallway, we played what was called sock hockey. And only it was like basketball. You know where your curtain rods would be?
Right,
There was that little separation between the wall, or the molding,
right.
and we'd ball up socks, and you'd go from one wall all the way down the hall to the other. And once again, Elby and I got stuck playing against Dickie and David. So we'd get killed, Elby get in a fight, his mother, he'd holler to his mom, and then she'd say, okay, that's enough, you've got to go home now. So he'd start the game and he'd end the game. But he's a jewel. And when we were little and I couldn't take it anymore, I'd grab him, I'd get him in a headlock, I'd get him down on the ground, and I'd say, you give? And he'd say, yeah, I give. So I'd let him up, and he'd take like 2 steps away from me. He'd start calling me names again. And I'd just laugh. He's just,
Oh, he's a jewel. He
he's
really
a
is
jewel.
man.
God bless him.
God bless him, he's right.
Well,
When he gets better, bring him on. And
oh, he'll love coming, and you'll have a ball with him.
Oh, I'm
Everything
sure.
coming out of his mouth will be silly.
he wouldn't swear at all, would he?
That's where you're going to have to do some editing here, some creative editing.
Okay.
I want to ask about the chatterbox.
How about the chatterbacks?
Oh,
Yeah, you've been big with that for I don't know how long now. How many years?
it's been close to 13, it'll be 13 years, I guess, in April. And that started, it was just a fluke. I was working for a company and selling ads, and the person wasn't producing as many of these placemats and takeout menus, and so then I was supposed to go back and sell it again, and everyone in the area knew me.
Right.
I said, oh, crap. So I didn't know any of this. I didn't know what to do,
Right.
but I asked a whole host of people, including people at the college, if they'd know how to just help me lay it out.
Right.
And I didn't get the help, but eventually Dickie Pacelli
Big for something.
came over. Pudgy Paradise brought him over, and he looked at my computer and he saw the different programs I had, different
Right.
software, and he pointed to Microsoft Publisher, and I won't get into all the particulars there, but I started doing the placemats and these takeout menus just to pay people back,
Mhm.
and then I was going to get a job. So I was living off of money I saved.
Right.
And then people started calling me and taking out ads. I didn't know what it was about, honest to God.
Wow.
And then I wanted to do something more creative once I got comfortable, and I felt I was doing well at ad layout. And I said, I want something that's going to be fun. And as a former teacher, I used to do all these activity sheets for my students.
Right.
And I'd while they had to be meaningful, they also had made sure that it was fun. The stories that I'd write in there,
Right.
so that they could learn phonics and learn sight words and so on, were fun. That said, that's really what my Chatterbox was. It was just something that would be fun. So I consider it a light and lively publication, meant to inform, entertain, and give pause for thought. And so far, I've just been very blessed that people in the community have been so, ever so good to take out ads and to share
Right.
information. I get jokes from people all over the country.
Can they be printed, though?
I know, I do some good editing, but some of them, no. Some of them I have to save for the coffee shops.
I understand.
But it comes out, my Chatterbox comes out every week. I print a few times a week because it's gotten more encyclopedic, if you will, with advertisers and non-advertising
Right.
content. And so I do the folding.
You got
and
any of your old copies?
I do. I've got the very first one.
You see all these books, but I'd be glad to give you a book up here with them, and
Oh, I'd love
put
to.
it right in. I don't think it'll hurt you. But
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. From
I'll-
the first one to, I don't
whatever,
know.
whatever you want. So yeah,
Okay,
that'll
and the
help you out.
placemats too.
yeah.
And then I'll take care of you. I'll help you guys with promotion pieces. I think
Thank you
people
so
would like
much.
to see
Yeah,
that.
I think they would. Well, it's been a pleasure, my friend. And
Same here.
like he said, you were one of the best athletes around. And he,
Oh,
He
Tommy,
did. I'm telling you, didn't he? Didn't Tom say that, Landry?
Yeah.
The last time we were honest.
Tommy's one of the best athletes, and pound for pound, there was nobody tougher. And you know, in conclusion, if you or I were to coach a team, and you were to pick your first 5 people, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, Landry'd be one of them, Les Robinson would be another,
Right.
Chet Copes would be another, not just for their athletic ability, those guys would run through walls for you.
Yep.
You would,
Right.
they would not stop. They wouldn't question you. They'd trust you. Boy, I miss those guys.
Oh, I agree.
God bless them.
It's so sad how many have gone on, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.